Max Baer Jr. finally speaks the truth about Irene Ryan when he is 88 years old. Max Baer Jr. was born Maximilian Adalbert Baer Jr. on December 4, 1937, in Oakland, California, a lively city in Alamo County. Max Baer Sr., a famous boxer and the world heavyweight champion in 1934, was his father. Max Sr. was well known for his powerful punches and his win against Primo Carrera. His celebrity brought a lot of attention and high expectations to his son, and the older Baer's strong personality and public image must have had an effect on the world that young Max grew up in. Mary Ellen Sullivan, Max Jr.'s mother, was a stabilizing force in the family, teaching them the importance of education, discipline, and kindness. Max grew up in a world where everyone was watching him since he was the child of a famous athlete, but he still found ways to stand out in both school and sports. Max Baer Jr. went to Christian Brothers High School in Sacramento for his early schooling. This school is noted for its tough academic programs and focus on sportsmanship and character development. While he was there, Max showed amazing athletic skill by obtaining letters in 4 different sports at the same time. This showed not just his natural athletic aptitude, but also his dedication, discipline, and competitive spirit. One of his early successes was in golf. He won the Sacramento Open Junior Golf Tournament twice, which was an amazing achievement. That showed how skilled and adaptable he was in many areas. These accomplishments set the stage for a life that would include both creative and business activities, as well as sports. After doing well in high school, Max went on to Santa Clara University, a well-known Jesuit school in California. He got a bachelor's degree in business administration, which added to his practical knowledge of business and management. He also got a minor in philosophy, which showed his interest in the deeper questions of life, human conduct, and ethics. This combination of courses helped him a lot later in his career, especially when he switched from acting to producing, directing, and eventually starting businesses in real estate and entertainment. Max Baer Jr. started performing when he was very young. In 1949, he made his stage debut in England at the Blackpool Pavilion, where he played a part in a play called Goldilocks and the Three Bears. This early time on stage gave him first-hand expertise with live acting and storytelling, which helped him later as an actor on cinema. But it wasn't until the 1960s that Max really started his career as a professional actor, becoming well known on both TV and in movies. He signed with Warner Brothers, a big company at the time, and rapidly began appearing in many of the most popular TV shows of the day. He was in famous shows including Maverick 1960, Surfside 6 1960 to 1961, Cheyenne 1960 to 1961, Hawaiian I 1960 to 1961, 77 Sunset Strip 1960 to 1961, Bronco 1961, Sugarfoot 1961, Follow the Sun 1962, and It's a Man's World 1962. These roles not only helped him improve his skills, but they also gave him a taste of the fast-paced world of TV production during a great time for American TV. Max Baer Jr. had a good start in television, but he is most known for his role as Jethro Bodine on the famous TV show The Beverly Hillbillies, aired on CBS from 1962 to 1971. Jethro, the naive and dim-witted son of Jed Clampett's cousin, became a beloved character in American pop culture. The show's comedic charm and satirical take on rural-urban contrasts made Jethro a household name, but also made it hard for the actor to get other roles, which he struggled with for the rest of his career. Max was still in other TV shows during the height of the Beverly Hillbillies, such as Love American Style 1969 to 1974 and Vacation Playhouse 1969 to 1974. He also made his film debut as Sergeant Luther Liskell in the 1967 war movie A Time for Killing, but because he was so intimately linked to Jethro Bodine, he couldn't take on as many different roles as he would have liked. This is a common problem for performers who are closely linked to famous characters. Max realized this and decided to focus on producing, directing, and screenwriting instead. This gave him creative power and the chance to try new things in the entertainment industry. Max Baer Jr. made his debut as a producer and screenwriter in 1974 with the gritty Southern thriller Moan County Line, in which he also played Deputy Reed Morgan. The movie did well at the box office and received good reviews for its gripping story, which made Max a good director. In 1975, he produced, wrote, and directed The Wild McCulloch, in which he played Culver Robinson in a family drama. That showed how versatile he was as an actor and director. He built on this success by directing and producing Ode to Billy Joe, a movie based on the iconic song of the same name. The movie was a huge box office blockbuster, which solidified his image as a talented filmmaker who could turn popular culture into box office success. Hometown USA 1979 was his last film as a filmmaker, and it marked the end of his main work in directing films. Max Baer Jr. was smart with money in addition to his profession in entertainment. He got into real estate and the casino sector. He has thought of building a Beverly Hillbillies empire throughout the years, which would be a way to take advantage of the show's long-lasting appeal. According to reports, this grandiose proposal includes building Jethro's Beverly Hills mansion and a string of casinos based on the world of the Clampetts. This shows that he can blend nostalgia with business foresight. Max has apparently made negotiations to get the rights to use names, likenesses, and other intellectual property associated to the show. He wants to turn the beloved TV show into a multi-dimensional business. People have always been interested in Max Baer Jr.'s personal life, especially his love life. This is mostly because he is a famous TV star and the son of the famous boxing champion Max Baer Sr. Baer has mostly kept his personal life private, but certain important connections throughout the years have entered public knowledge and have added to the larger story of his life outside of Hollywood. Max Baer Jr. and Joanne Kathleen Hill got married in 1966. At the time, Baer was at the height of his stardom from the show Beverly Hillbillies, where he played Jethro Bodine and became a household figure across the country. The stress of being famous and the obligations of an acting career that often involved travel and long hours of labor were said to have caused problems in the marriage. Baer and Hill, like many young couples whose lives are under public scrutiny, had problems that were hard to solve. The couple were divorced in 1971 after being married for 5 years. The separation was a big change in Baer's personal life, and it happened at the same time as he was trying to reestablish himself professionally after being known for one famous performance. Baer didn't get married again after his divorce, although he did have romantic relationships with a number of famous ladies throughout the years. Victoria Principal, a very successful actress, businesswoman, and novelist, was one of the most famous, most recognized for her part in the hit TV show Dallas. Their relationship got a lot of attention from the media because they were both well-known public figures with successful careers. Baer was also said to be involved with model Cher Rhodes, which further added to his reputation as someone who was often linked to glamorous and high-profile connections at that time. One part of Baer's friendship with Victoria Principal eventually caused a lot of trouble. Principal officially accused Baer of assaulting her while they were dating in 2005. The accusation brought Baer back into the spotlight decades after his peak television fame and got people talking about their prior connection in the media. Baer strongly refuted the accusations, saying that they were false. The accusation did not lead to a criminal conviction, and Baer always denied any suggestion that he had acted in that way. This episode showed how complicated and difficult relationships can be when they are partly public, especially when the people involved have very different memories and interpretations of prior occurrences. The situation was very different from the mostly funny image that Baer had built up over his acting career. It also made him want to be private even more when he got older and moved away from Hollywood to focus on business, finances, and life outside of show business. Max Baer Jr. is 88 years old, which is an age where it's easier to think about things than to hold back. Baer is most known for playing Jethro Bodine on the Beverly Hillbillies, a role that made him famous but also limited him for decades. Now that he's older, he talks openly about one of the most important people in his professional life, Irene Ryan, the actress who played Granny and became one of television's most memorable characters. People viewed Irene Ryan on film as a nice elderly lady, but she was nothing like that. Baer says she was smart, demanding, and tougher than nearly anybody else I've ever met. He remembers meeting her when he was a young actor who was still new to the business and afraid of himself. He was walking onto a set with a lot of veteran actors. Ryan had already been in vaudeville, radio, and movies for a long time, and she walked and talked like someone who had been in show business through every age. She had been through it all. There are good times, horrible times, and everything else. She didn't put up with fools, and she didn't pretend to. Baer says that Ryan scared him at first. I was young, and she could see right through me. He says she could tell when you were acting and when you were faking it. But he says she taught him important lessons about how to be professional and stay alive in Hollywood. Ryan wanted people to be precise, prepared, and respectful of the work. She didn't believe in taking the easy way out. She knew if you were being lazy, and if you were serious, she would respect you. Baer says that Ryan had a softer side that not many people saw, even though she had a reputation for being tough. He remembers that when the lights were off, she might be really warm. She had a dry, nasty sense of humor. She would sit there and tell stories about vaudeville that would make your hair stand on end. Ryan, he says, had been through a lot of bad times, including failed marriages and financial problems, long before the Beverly Hillbillies made her famous in her latter years. She valued accomplishment since she knew it wouldn't last long. Baer also talks about long-running rumors that there is conflict on set. Yes, there were times, he admits. Putting strong personalities together will always cause problems. Ryan was quite protective of her character and the show's quality. She knew that Granny was more than just a funny character. That family depended on her. Baer says that at first he didn't trust her instincts enough. Most of the time, she was right. I didn't know that until later. Baer came to really respect Ryan's ability to keep going as the years went by. He murmurs softly, she worked until the very end. Ryan wouldn't slow down, even though her health was getting worse. She thought that no matter how you felt, the audience deserved your best. He was quite sad when she died in 1971, just after the Beverly Hillbillies finished. It felt like the conclusion of a time, not simply a show. Baer speaks clearly now that he can look back. He says that Irene Ryan helped him become the performer he is today. She scared me, pushed me, and taught me. He thinks that history has been good to her, but not always true. People remember the laughing, but they forget how hard it was to make it. Baer, who is 88 years old, doesn't care much about myths or the past. Irene Ryan was a survivor. That's the reality. He feels she deserved every chuckle she got. Max Baer Jr. tells the truth about his iconic co-star and a woman whose strength and brilliance changed television history forever. He and Buddy Ebsen were best friends for a long time, and their bond lasted for decades. A friendship that grew, not only because they were both successful on the Beverly Hillbillies, but also because they cared for each other and respected each other. Ebsen was more than just a co-star to him. He was a stable presence, a valued friend, and an acting coach whose advice had a big impact on his life and profession. That intimacy stayed strong until the very end, in a touching and very human moment. He and Donna Douglas went to see Ebsen in the hospital just before he died. They were there for him in his last days, giving him comfort and company. On July 6, 2003, Buddy Ebsen died of pneumonia. He was not only a famous TV star, but also a close friend whose impact went well beyond the screen. As time went on, those memories became even more painful. The death of Donna Douglas in 2015 gently ended another beloved chapter in the history of television. He was the last regular cast member of the Beverly Hillbillies to die, which was both an honor and a sad honor. He was the last living link to the show's original cast, and he became a living bridge to a time in TV history when things were pleasant, simple, and characters became part of American culture. He was the last person to remember the friendships, laughter, and shared experiences that brought millions of people together. He was the last person to carry those memories, which keep the history of a program and a cast alive even after many years.